skin-tight jeans that they cut. It takes them hours to fit. They have to put Vaseline on their legs first and then put their jeans on. Honestly, we have men that are women. Wallahi. And we live in this kind of society, and it's a shame. And we have women who would feel depressed just because this current society doesn't think that she looks the best looking. Because this stupid magazine called Vogue or Hello or whatever the case may be, you'd have fake women on there. By the way, those models, they don't exist. They get a model who's probably a few pounds bigger, who's got a few more spots, but they take a picture of her and they edit her. She's a cartoon. And we think we have to look like cartoons. Wallahi, if you study the business, especially in female magazines, you will see that these women don't even exist. If you went to see the real woman, you say, Wallahi, it's so different. Of course it is. Because they paintbrush, airbrush, Photoshop, spray paint. They change her whole look. And we fall in love with that image because it's part of our popular culture, and we think we have to be like that. So the point is, Ikhwan Akhawat, we're being called to something else, whether it's about our looks or even our ideas. In college and university or even other institutions, we would get called to things like the ridiculous idea of absolute freedom. I mean, if you think about it, there is no such thing as absolute freedom. You're going to do whatever you want. You know, the silly idea of do what you want as long as it doesn't harm other people. But the point is, how do you know it's not going to harm other people? Who are you? You don't know. You have a limited perspective on your actions. That's why we believe in Allah. We must enslave ourselves to Allah. It frees us from the dunya, from the limited perspectives of human beings. But we live in a capitalist West which enforces us to be individualistic. It's all about the individual rights. If you study human rights in the UN Charter, they're very individualistic. It's about the individual. Whereas in Islam, it's more comprehensive. It's about the individual and the rest of society, and how our actions affect society. So even a concept like this, for example, how many hijabis have you seen march on the streets and say, it's my choice to have a hijab? No, it's not. Get over it. It's not. We don't have a choice. Allah told you. Shut up. Follow. But isn't that the point? But we fall for a fake narrative because we want to show to people that we're like these free liberals. No, they're the ones who really enslaved. I'm doing this thing because I chose to be Muslim, but I'm doing this because I know it's not, I don't have a freedom to choose any way around. I've submitted myself to Allah, and I know this is good for me because Allah knows Hamza better than Hamza does. Allah knows Adam better than Adam does. Allah knows Fatima better than Fatima does. Do you see? So it's not like this kind of illusion of freedom, because we're Muslim. And we shouldn't be disingenuous with the wider society and make them feel that, yeah, we're excessively liberal that way. No. We have a reality. It's the submission to Allah. We believe in His reality. We believe in the Day of Judgment. We love Him. We want to worship Him. And the things that we do is as a result of that. Not because of this illusion of freedom. Wallahi, we need to fix up and be distinct with our personalities and our tradition. So the point is, we get called even to ideological things. So the reason dawah is so important, because if you don't give dawah, someone's giving dawah to you. Very simple. Even the TV, if you have small nieces or nephews or children, you see that the television, especially in children marketing for toys, it's been designed where they could memorize a song from an advert or a few statements from a toy advert faster than they could memorize Quran. Wallahi, I've seen it. I don't give my children TV. Very rarely do they watch TV. Very rare. And the reason for, we don't even have a TV in the house. And the reason for it is not because I think it's shaitan, or I think it's a jinn, or I'm backward. No, it's nothing to do with that. It's simply because you need to read and learn about the effect of TV on your children. There's this new concept in psychiatry called neuroplasticity. And from the age of 0 to 2 years old, TV can rewire someone's brain. Especially children. It affects their cognitive, their intellectual learning capacities. Even us, as human beings, as adults, it can affect our state. We could become more lazy or become energetic. It could inspire us in ways that we don't really have control over because of things like the way it's being constructed. But especially for children, it affects them in remote ways because they're remotely controlled. Actually, there was a book called Remotely Controlled, written by an American author, and he showed how TV remotely controls our children. It is the way they think, feel, and want to act. My son, the only TV he would watch is at my mum's house, and that's very rare. So in a month, he'll watch 20 minutes of television. 20 minutes in a month. The average is 4 hours a day. 20 minutes, and listen to this. Even in that 20 minutes, my son has picked up some amazing dance routines. I've got a video, I'll show it to you. But he was doing things like this. He's only 5 years old. I've got it here. I'll show it to you later. I was looking at it just earlier. I was cracking my head off. He was in the garden doing it. I was like, what the hell's wrong with you? Yeah? Now, it's still fun and games, I know, but imagine that's just 20 minutes in a month. And we think, why isn't our children listening to us? Why are they running up the walls? They can't sit down for a few hours and just learn something. It's because of the excessive, unnatural stimulus of TV. My son could sit in a course, 8-hour course that I deliver, and he'll be fine for 8 hours.
Inshallah.
That's not because I'm a good dad. How do you spend time with them? But it's because you just remove something like TV away from them. Anyway, this is not about TV, but the point I'm trying to say is that if we're not calling people to Islam, someone's calling you. And that call is actually a protection for yourself. Calling people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthens you and protects you from that perspective. So if you really want to remain distinct and you really want to remain sure with your Islam, then start giving it to others. But also, ikhwan akhawat, dawah itself is something that defines you as a human being. It defines you. What's your name? Muhammad. It defines Muhammad. You know that? I'll tell you why. And what's your name, sister? Name's me. It defines me. It defines me. It defines me. Yeah? And me. And you. The reason it defines us is because wallahi, every single one of you, we love Allah, yes or no? Yes. We want to come closer to Allah. Even with our shortcomings, we want to come closer to Allah. Put your hand up, we want to come closer to Allah. We all do. Now, in coming closer to Allah Azza wa Jal, what do we have to do? We can't just stay in the status of a Muslim. We want to become a mu'min. Not just a Muslim, but a believer. Someone closer to Allah. But in order for this to happen, we have to do something. And listen to the following hadith. It's about self-image psychology. Looking at yourself in the mirror. The Prophet ﷺ said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. You won't truly believe. You won't be the Muslim. You won't be the mu'min. You won't be the true believer. You won't be the guy that wants to come closer to Allah. You won't be the sister that wants to come closer to Allah. Unless you love for others what you love for yourself. And this brotherhood is not just Muslim brotherhood. The ulama like An-Nawawi, he said this means humanity. There's other hadith in Musnad Ahmed that means people. Imam Rajab al-Hanbali, a classical scholar, I believe he was the student of Ibn Taymiyyah. He said this means people. So if you want to be defined as the one who comes closer to Allah, you have to love for others what you love for yourself. But let me ask you a question. What do you love the most?
Allah.
There you go. So what do you want to give to others now if you want to be a believer? The dawah. The belief in Allah. Do you see? It affects your personality now. It's self-image psychology. You see yourself, I want to become closer to Allah. Yes, I do. That's my aspiration. But the Prophet ﷺ is telling me, in order for you to reach that status, I have to give the thing I love to others. And the thing I love is Allah, Islam. Well, what do we have to give to others? Exactly. And this is self-image psychology. It actually helps change who you are. Because you have an image of yourself, but in order to establish and become that image, which is someone closer to Allah, you have to start giving Islam to other people. But also, ikhwan and akhawat, dawah is so important because at the end of the day, the crux of the matter, you allow people, you facilitate people to go to Jannah. Because the opposite is hellfire, and that is a dreadful place. Imagine your friends. Imagine you're in a labyrinth. You know what a labyrinth is? It's like a maze. Imagine you were in a maze, and you had all your friends and family with you. And that labyrinth, that maze, was going to burn. Everyone's going to die in the fire in 5 minutes. You're the only one with the map. You're the only one with the map. What happens? You basically read the map and you escape. If your friends knew that you had that map, what would they think of you? Sorry?
What's the map for?
The map to get out of the maze. If your friends knew you had that map, what would they think about you? That you ran away with the map, you escaped, but allowed them to burn in the maze. What would they think of you?
A traitor.
Exactly! A traitor! What would they think of you?
Selfish.
Selfish! What else would they think of you?
Greedy.
Greedy! What else?
Coward.
Coward! But wallahi, we are selfish, we're greedy, and we're cowards every day. We have the map to take them out of that fire, that maze, which is the Quran, and we don't give it to other people. So we betray our fellow human beings. It's not nice calling yourself a coward, greedy, and a betrayer, does it? Is it nice? Well, that's why we need to do something about it. We need to do something about it, which I'll give you some practical steps at the end. But also, ikhwan akhawat, we have to realize something very amazing. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually elevates the person who calls people to Islam. Elevates them. Do you know that? There's an amazing story in the Quran. Who said the story of the Sabbath? Who knows the story of the Sabbath?
What's the Sabbath?
Okay, the whole Jewish day is from Maghrib Friday to Maghrib Saturday. Let me tell you the story. Allah in the Quran tells us the story about the people of the Sabbath, and He said that He wanted to test these people, and testing them by telling them not to fish on the day of the Sabbath, because this town, its livelihood was based on fishing. And Allah tested them and said, you cannot fish on the day of the Sabbath, which is Friday Maghrib into Saturday Maghrib. There were 3 groups of people that responded to this test. The first group of people were people who disobeyed Allah. Because what they did, they put the nets just before Maghrib and they connected it after Saturday. So they said, whatever's in the nets, we didn't really do any fishing, but we'll take it. So they tried to cheat Allah on the technicality, but they really disobeyed Him. So they disobeyed Allah. The second group of people, all they did was, they didn't fish on the day of Sabbath. So they just chilled out. We obey you Allah, that's it. The third group of people, what did they do? Not only did they obey Allah by not fishing, but they told the first group, Ittaqillah, fear Allah, be conscious of Allah, be mindful of Him, don't disobey Allah. So what do you think Allah did to the 3 groups of people? To the first group, what did Allah do? The ones who disobeyed Him. He cursed them, turned them to pigs and monkeys, and He destroyed them essentially. The punishment of Allah. What about the second group of people who just obeyed but didn't do anything else? Go on. Go on.
Punish them as well.
No.
No.
That's the weak opinion called Ibn Kathir. If you read Ibn Kathir, the exegesis, it's even more powerful actually. Allah doesn't mention anything about them. Now listen to this. The third group of people, what happens?
They're rewarded because they disobeyed.
They're rewarded, but how? Allah praises them. Think about that. Allah praises the person who calls people to Islam. Allah is the only one worthy of praise and thanks. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Even if we never existed, all praises and thanks are due to Him. But He praises us, the insignificant specks of dust in this vast universe, because we call people to his way. But he kept silent on the people who just obeyed Allah but didn't follow through and call other people to his beautiful path. So the first group of people that disobeyed were destroyed. The second, Allah kept silent about them. The third, Allah praises the du'at. Praises the people who call people to Allah. Imagine that. Sometimes we want praise from our friends all the time. We want praise from other people. We want praise from society. We want our name on a certificate. Our name even on our books. Sometimes in school when we're bored, all we're doing is writing our names. In nice calligraphy. Yes or no, sister? What's your name? Wa'ad. Wa'ad all the time, right? On your book because you're bored. The point is, but what about the praise of Allah? Allah is praising you and elevating your status. So the point here is calling people to Islam is so rewardable. You get praised by Allah. But also, what about the practical reward? Come here. Muhammad, yeah? Say I gave him dawah and he became a Muslim. Yes? Just one person. This is why the Prophet ﷺ said, calling people to Islam is better than the best type of camels, the red camels. The red camels at the time of Arabia, 1400 years ago, is equivalent to the best type of wealth. Lamborghini, Bugatti, Veyron. Who knows what a Veyron is? 2.2 million pound car, my friend. 0 to 100 in like less than 8 seconds or something. But it's a fast car, it's a super car. The point is that it's the best type of wealth. So imagine I called him to Islam, he became a Muslim. You be getting the reward for all of his good deeds. Because the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ said that if you call someone to good, you get the reward of everything he does. And it doesn't diminish in his reward. Allah is the bountiful from that perspective. So if he prays, you get the reward for all his prayers. So now he gets married, okay? Not to him. No. Imagine, they get married, okay? I'll be getting the reward, listen! I'll be getting the reward for both of their prayers and everything they do together, yeah? Now imagine they have 2 children. Kneel down, kneel down. In front. They have 2 children, yeah? It's a family of 4. I just called this guy to Islam.